What's going on, guys? How are we doing? Today's video, we're going to go and talk about some of this dev talk about this road ahead. Some of the stuff from the podcast, on the Gambit podcast. This was a couple nights ago. But I'm just going to review it and go over my concerns with the future of the game. All right, so well, let's just go and talk about it, I guess. I don't want to make this too long a video. I know Arnold just made a video with Heinze about this. So I just want to kind of go over... There are different levels of concern. there's smaller ones, but then there's the bigger ones. So I want to just kind of keep on going on the bigger ones and ones that are a bit more broad that hit more different players, or more of the player base rather. So let's go and do that. I would say to start off on a nice middle ground concern is something like with Gas and how his event might be a bit more difficult now that his change to his kit is going to be increasing some of the protection gain and all that stuff. That's a bit of a middle ground concern. There's like some smaller ones. That's a middle ground one. That's a nice little one to start off with. In this little post here, you know, we've seen the changes. They're going to be kind of implemented here in the next little bit. But one of the changes is going to be the General Skywalker and how he regains his protection and all that sort of good stuff, right? So that is just one concern with people in the future getting this guy unlocked. Because I know I made two different guides on this event, P4 for the Gas event, and that was one of the hardest events, if not it is the hardest event in the game to unlock a character. So just imagine how that's going to change with this new change to his kit. So we'll just have to see. That's like another little concern here. One of my biggest concerns right now is with Grand Arena counters. I mean, you guys already know the big whole changes to Galactic Legends and non-Galactic Legend counters / interactions. There's a lot that goes into it, guys. There's a lot. So I would say, if I'm going to put a percentage of all of the previous or current counters to GLs that are non-GL counters, I would say around 70 to 90% of the current ones will now be just totally gone. But I will now bring up a chart for you guys, and I know this is pre the changes. This is just more about theory crafting right now about how it might look once the changes do go live. But here's a little list for every single GL counter out there and what kind of works good right now and what might still work good down the line. All right, so this is a list I've been seeing in some different servers I'm in on Discord. So let's just kind of go over some of these. These are, like I said, these are going to be how they might impact for the future of these changes with these current counters. So it says, like right here, it says, I'm not sure if you can still read this. My face cam's out of the way. Let me just, for this part of the video, let me just kind of take out my face cam so you guys can actually read it, because I know some people have a hard time reading these things. But let's go over here. So this current counter with Revan, the Jig, probably two Kylos, probably the best counter in my opinion to a non-GL. With Revan, Luke, Hermit, Bastila, and Old Ben. So this one still might be good. It says this was always a very consistent counter and likely will remain so. It relies on controlling the allies of Kylo and then working down him later down the line. So like this very well might still be a good counter to a Kylo. But it is just right now hard to say. But if I were to still say, this one is still, in my opinion, one that could still work because it's really about controlling, like it says right here, about controlling the allies around Kylo and then having him very last to kill. Because there are a lot of times if you play it right, which most times you will, where you're going to have all 5 of your guys alive. You can mark the Kylo. You can get a bunch of foresight off, a lot of heals. And then if like you do die, well, it's probably going to be the Old Ben. And then guess what? He's going to give out more buffs and more TM to your team to make them kill the Kylo before he kills you, right? So this one still might work. But then we're going off about other ones here. Unknown is about these other Jedi counters. The Unknown with the cheese, not really cheese, but more of like the Gas with Han, or with Chewie and all these N5s and these guys. Yeah, that's pretty unknown there. But then there's some dead ones. So like this one, it says, like the Vader ones. I would say Vader in most aspects is going to be dead, and really any counter to any GLs here. Then you get down here the list here, again, more Vaders, more Gases. It seems like Vaders and Gases are going to be the ones that are probably not going to work versus GL counters down the line. But then you have this counter here with the clones and 501st with a Barriss. This one still might work, but this one, in my opinion, is a very hard one to have modded the right way. And I guess in terms of the changes, this one gets really untouched. So that's really why this one might be still viable. Same thing here goes with the 3-man against that against the Kylo. So that's Kylo right there. And now let's go over to Rey. So Rey is probably, as we can see here, probably going to be one of the GLs that is going to still remain to be the strongest on defense. So if you had a Rey, and let's say you just got this new Commander Ahsoka, guys, man, that is going to be a very deadly, deadly team on defense going forward. So if you have that team built up, guys, go for it. It is going to be so strong. All right, so unknown. We don't know if the Luke nuke's going to work because of gas. Gas, he will not be able to reduce the max health of GLs or increase their cooldowns, which is huge in countering those GLs. So that's probably not going to be working in my opinion. Then you come down here like the JTR. So this one works, but only against certain comps. So really hard to say about that one with JTR. Vader again. Vader's not looking hot here. Same thing here, gas, not looking hot there. You cannot do anything with reducing their health. This one, probably going to be no. I have yet to see a 501st beat that. I mean, maybe, honestly, guys, maybe with Gas's changes, that might change, but I doubt that very, very highly. Again, that's not going to work here. Yeah, that's just a hard no. You can't fracture. If you can't fracture Rey, then you're probably not going to kill her. She's going to get her ultimate off. Not going to work. So, Thrawn, again, not going to work in really any of these counters. This one, I don't know. It really relies on gas again. So, really, this one is going to be very difficult going forward with non-GL counters. So, guys, Rey probably going to be a very good front wall defense if it wasn't already before. So let's go over here to the next one here. This is more defenses and teams you might fight on defenses and how it's going to kind of work. So this one, Troopers totally out of the picture. Not even going to happen anymore. That's totally hard countered. But then you go and you can see this the CULS. So the CULS team and the JTR team, kind of similar. They can beat it, but it just depends on the counters as rather the variations of the teams in the comps that you might be fighting. So it could beat it, but probably not all of them. But then we have Grievous, and this is a point I want to make right now. I feel like Grievous, in terms of countering GLs, might go up, and this is one I would always keep for offense, and honestly, I would up the relics of some of these characters. So, for instance, this team can kill a lot of good teams. Yeah, it might not work versus all, but it does work versus a very few many. So, right now, I don't see many Emperors on defense, but we'll go over to the next one, which is going to be the Master Luke team. And this is a team Grievous shines versus if it is a Master Luke lead. So, here we go. Master Luke. Probably a bit of a, I don't know, he's kind of going to be more offensively based, I would say. I'm not going to really see many of these on defense. I really have never, but maybe it changes with these new changes. So, again, JTR, that whole if it were to be like a Bastila lead with JML or a JKL or a JKR lead, this whole JTR can still work. Same with the CLS team. Those will do still the same job. If it is a Master Luke lead, though, I would say it's not here on this list, but Grievous can definitely get the job done. Although it might change depending on the comp, but for the most part, I have really had no issues killing teams that are Master Luke lead with my Grievous and Separatists. Again, here, same thing. Vader, pretty much going forward here, guys, Thrawn and Vader are a no-go. I don't see them both working because they kind of play in part with each other. You have to have a fracture on the GL, and then Vader kind of builds up his debuffs to get a Culling Blade off, and without that fracture, I just don't see it happening and working. Same thing here with Gas. JKL between him and Gas, probably the better one going forward in these counters. And then last but not least, currently right now, because we only have 5, we don't have Lord Vader yet, is Kenobi. And going forward with these changes, this is probably going to be the easier GL to counter in terms of what we have currently depending on these changes. So Gas 501st will still get the job done. This team here, JKR, can still get the job done. Despite the nerfs, it is still going to be a consistent counter. This one with Dark Trooper, we don't know really yet. Unknown. Then we're going into some more very strong counters. This is really with Padme, guys. Padme shines very, very much so against these Master Kenobi teams. So I would say going forward, I know Padme is a requirement at Relic 8 for Lord Vader. I would not be one to have her be low gear right now, especially with that requirement. I would kind of maybe bump her up just a bit. So Padme, very good. But then we're going to be talking about teams with the Commander Ahsoka, and with those teams, now we're talking about a bit more trouble because a non-GL counter to a Commander Ahsoka right now is really not even a thing. Yeah, you could probably still beat it with this team here, with your own Commander Ahsoka with Padme, but even then, there is not much you can do depending on the gear, the relics, and how they're modded. It's very iffy with this team to counter a Commander Ahsoka Kenobi. But going forward, I would say if you do fight one of those teams, you have to for sure keep GLs. So, all in all, if you're wanting to think about these, the hardest one to counter, in my opinion, is going to be the Rey going forward. The next hardest is going to be probably, in my opinion, probably going to be the Emperor right here. And then we're going to talk about some of the Master Luke, and then Kylo, and then the easier one is going to be the Kenobi. So, yeah, that's kind of it for that part of the video. that's a long part of the video, by the way. Everything else, though, I'm sorry, that was a little bit too long. If you guys want to go and check those out, maybe I can like post a link to those. I don't know. But yeah, guys, GAC is going to be very, very hard. That's my biggest concern here with all of this is GAC counters. It's going to just be such a hard thing. But you guys already knew that. I guess I just want to go and talk about those potential counters down the line. So next up here is going to be Relic 9. Relic 9, I feel like, is just so forced. I think it's there for a reason. It's going to be forced for a reason. I'm having such a hard time right now getting these impulse detectors or whatever they're called to get Relic 8s. These ones you pretty much have to buy from the Whale Store, or you gotta like, I don't even know, where can you get these? I feel like either Whale Store, or you gotta like just farm them up from these other pieces. They're just so hard to come by. I feel like if you're gonna have to farm these up and that's all you're farming, I feel like you're wasting your farms and your energy on these things when you gotta be farming up characters. Like right now, I wanna farm up the Bad Batch. I can't really go for those Relegate pieces unless I go and spend some money on them. So I feel like right now, currently, if they were to not change those things, which I don't feel like they have, and actually, as a matter of fact, in the dev, whatever, with the stream and the Gambit podcast, rather, they had really no intentions of easing up on the gear crunch and helping us out in really any regards with that. They did not seem very insightful or really anything to do with easing it up on the player base. So if I were to guess, Relic 8s will still remain how difficult they are right now. So just kind of knowing that and seeing the requirements right now for both the Executor and the Lord Vader, that is scary to me. That is probably my next biggest concern in this game is Gear Crunch and Relic 8s. Because if we're already going to be talking about Relic 9s coming on the line after these changes go live, man, that is just such a scary thing in my opinion. I am not looking forward to that whatsoever. That is a no-no for me. So coming back here, let's see. Yeah, Conquest and Razor Crest. A concern here is not really for me, but it's more for people who don't have a GL. Again, more about the GAC talk, because you do have to fight some GL teams in Conquest, and if they're going to make it so you can't counter GLs without the GLs, especially in Conquest, that's going to neuter so many players out there that don't have a GL that want to get those Conquest event characters like the Razor Crest, Commander Ahsoka, and then soon to be Maul. So that's another concern for not really me because I have some GLs, but more for the people who are able to do hard mode that have that GP but don't have enough GLs or just don't have a GL at all. So we're gonna have to see with the cards, the Conquest discs rather, and seeing how that plays into part. And then the last thing I want to go over for today is the Executor requirements, really just ships in general. So right here it says the Executor will be, what does it say here? It is our intention that the Executor will be commensurate in power to the difficulty involved in acquiring it. So really, going forward, guys, they are really trying to push for those big boy requirements like the GL requirements to make them worthwhile. And I guess it makes sense, but at the same time, it kind of sucks building up these counters to teams over like the last 2 years to counter the GLs. It just sucks because I feel like I've put more into those than I have into GLs. And I feel like those people who put into more into GL teams will get more out of this down the line than I have working on the counters. We'll have to see though. But I guess for this Executor, in my opinion, we don't know if this is going to be required for Lord Vader, but I still feel like I have a very good feeling that this is going to be the first thing people would want to go for in terms of this or Lord Vader. So, yeah, it seems very so that if we're going to have to, where is the actual post here? Well, I think it's right up here. If we're going to have to get 2 Relic 8s right here, or no, where is it? Yeah, two Relic 8s. a Relic 7 and 4 Relic 5s, and then a 7-star Razor Crest. And if that ship is not able to conquer and hold its place very, very firmly against Negotiators and Malevolences, then I feel like they are really stupid CG over there, making us require those and making that ship not be at that level. So I think it's almost a very certainty. It's almost like it's going to happen pretty much. Like, it's inevitable that this fleet will be outranking, in my opinion at least, those two get to currency ships, Malevolence and Negotiator. That's just my 2 cents there in terms of what they just mentioned there with the requirements and what it kind of means down the line, and then also 2 Relic 8s here. I mean, that's a big stuff, guys. So yeah, ships are a scary thing. They also, back in another past Road Ahead, that ship load of content, they want to kind of hit up on that. So there's gonna be some more stuff here soon with some more ships. So I feel like, you know, the month of August, September, and the next even October, that's going to be the next few months will be just kind of more ship oriented, and also having tied into part with the Conquest Maul and also Lord Vader. But I would feel like more push towards the fleet aspect, if that makes sense. So honestly, guys, I am very bummed about the GL counters not being able to work as much and the future of changes. But I still feel like the biggest concern, honestly, actually, now that I think about it some more, is the gear crunch and Relic 8s and Relic 9s, because those are really hard to get for both requiring them for, you know, these GL characters and now fleet, and then having to now worry about the potential of Relic 9. That is just such a scary thing, guys. Not looking forward to it. I guess another thing to kind of hit up on is that we're going to have some more puzzles here soon. So honestly, I would just assume some puzzles for maybe a new character, or maybe some ships. I don't know. But I feel like if they were to kind of hit up on anything really big here, it would be ships. Razor Crest just dropped. Maybe some stuff from the Bad Batch. And now this Executor. We'll have to see. But that's really about it. I guess if you guys have any ideas or any things to add to this, I would love to know them down below in the comments. Like I said, Relic 9 is probably like my biggest concern, especially with Relic 8s right now. I'm just having a hard time with that right now. I'm having an easier time with the changes than I am with the Relic 9s, but that's just me. Yeah, if you guys have any of these thoughts or concerns, let me know down below in the comments. If you guys have any other videos you would like me to go and cover, let me know as well down below. That's it for me today, guys. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I will see you later. Peace out and have a good one. See you guys.